Okay, before we get started with the video, I got a few things to say real quick. As far as me quitting sweets and ice cream, dude, guys, I had lasted one day. Now I've already failed. So I'm gonna try again, and my excuse is there's ice cream in the house. That's right, in the freezer. And it belongs to my daughter. So I'm gonna try again after this weekend. I'm determined to do this. And the other thing I want to say is, we was going to do the video from my favorite park I walk at, because what the video is about, some of the things happen there. Only to find out it was a coyote that came up, and the good thing I was able to spot it, and I was like, nuh-uh, because I got Stormy with me. And it ain't the first time I've seen coyotes over there. It just blows my mind when I do see the coyotes there, they're by themselves. Coyotes usually run in a pack. Alright guys, let's talk about what this video is about. Does that make sense? I want to tell you how and why I don't drink alcohol today. How and why? That make any sense to you all? And by the way, I'm still going to do the walking videos. Ain't that a beautiful sound behind me, that train? I'm real close to the tracks. I'm still going to do the walking videos, but this weekend we're going back hiking. It's going to be muddy too. We got a lot of rain coming tomorrow, but you're going to be seeing a lot of hiking videos along with walking vlogs. All right, let's get started. Oh, I love the sound of trains. Okay, I pretty much started drinking when I turned 21, but I was not a big drinker or anything like that, just every so often, and it wasn't much. So this story takes place in 1990. Oh my God, there isn't a prettier sound than that. Oh, sorry guys, I absolutely love trains. 1990, I was a young man. I rented off the upstairs from my father's house, and he lived downstairs, and we lived upstairs. It was two separate apartments. I had a full-time job. I worked as a not exactly a sous chef, but pretty much in the same category as a sous chef at a very famous restaurant here in my town. Now, pretty much back in them days, I did not have a girlfriend, and I would basically work all week. On Friday and Saturday, I would go out to the nightclub. At a nightclub I would go to, I actually met a guy there. He became my friend, and we agreed to something. We was like, we would never ever tell our personal business. We'll never tell what we do for a living. We'll never tell we got a girlfriend or a wife. We only have conversations here and about what's surrounding us here. And all of our personal life, let's keep it out. And we did this, guys, for a year. Yeah, I never missed a weekend. As a matter of fact, we went to that place so much, I actually played with the house band a couple times, and we went there so much, we even had our picture on the wall amongst all the other regulars that would go to that nightclub on a weekend. Yes. And the funny thing is, I couldn't even tell you this guy's name today. If I ran into him right now, I wouldn't recognize him probably. This may be a long video, folks. My apologies now if you don't care for them. So 1990, that whole year went, everything was fine. Then one day he comes, he says, I won't be able to make it back no more, Mike. I'm sorry, things came up in my personal life, and that was it. I kind of figured at the time, I was like, oh damn, that dude had a wife, man. She probably capped on him, you know? That's what I figured. It's like, okay. So I went back to the nightclub a couple more times. It just didn't seem to have the same fun without that guy being there, you know, my buddy. So I started looking for other places to party. So me and my friends I had at the time would get together and look for parties on the weekends. Parties in now around here and where I live here in Indiana. You know, you're going to have a party. a drinking party, 9 times out of 10, you ain't gonna have it inside your house. You're gonna do it in an open field. You're gonna do it on a farm somewhere. You're gonna do it in the woods. Oh, hell yeah. We didn't freaking go into people's houses and party. It's a good thing too. Trust me, you don't want to have a party and have a bunch of people there you do not know in your house. Yeah, we'll get to that. So this time of my life, I started drinking excessively. Oh God, I'm here to tell you folks. I started drinking, and real quick, I'm not counting my laps. I'm just walking and walking till I get tired. I already did a good portion of my walk at the other park that Coyote came. But anyway, I was drinking excessively. And it was getting to the point where I was drinking on a day-to-day basis. And when I went to work, I walked to work, by the way. And the reason I walked to work, didn't drive my car, is because the owner of the place told us, if you drive here, you got to park down on the next block because we want to save all these spots for the customers. So I only lived a mile away. I just worked right over yonder there in town. So I walked, no problem. Yeah, the other day when I was here, there was a truck down there by the fishing hole. And I thought it was broke down. Now I know for sure it was, because we're down there trying to get it started now. But I would stop at a liquor store, guys, before I go into work and buy a 12-pack. Then on my way into work, we had to go through a, it's hard to explain, but it's still outside, but it's like a covering outside, and they had an air unit. I will hide my 12-pack there, and every so often, especially when I got breaks, I come out and drink a can of beer. Yeah, so I was drinking through work, and what I would do inside, since I worked in a restaurant, I would grab a lemon and eat it, thinking that will hide the alcohol from my breath. It kind of did. I never got caught. Okay, I'm sure some of you people are watching this video and says, come on, Mike, get to the point. Okay, we're gonna speed it up some. My life started roller coastering out of control. I'm drinking more and more. I'm also getting into a lot of fist fights. I am going to parties, I'm crashing parties, and things are getting way out of control. But one thing I can tell you, I never did. I never drink and drive. Nope. I actually had a friend, I'm not going to mention his name. He was my designated driver and also a driver for my other friends whenever we would go out to a party. And all we did was just give him some bucks. He had no problem. He was also our eyes and ears. So when we're at the party, he's like, hey, it's time to go. Cops are getting ready to come and crash this party. We left. We listened to him. And yes, on a couple occasions, he will grab me. He's like, no, Mike, you're going now. No fighting. And sometimes I listen to him. This time in my life, I pretty much, as soon as I got under the influence of alcohol, I was a hothead. I wanted to fight. I wanted to do the most stupidest thing. I was one of these guys, watch this, hold my beer. And I was at the other park because the part I'm telling you now happened there. I actually played called surfing cars. What we would do is, we would get on the roof of the car and go around the park. We had the person go around the park as fast as they could, and we tried to surf on top of the roof until we fell off. Guys, my roller coaster was going out of control. I was getting in multiple fights. I was doing very stupid things. Jumping off the bridge into the Ohio River. Jumping out a 2-story window. And then trying to do flips out of windows. I mean, there's 100 different things I can tell you the crap I was doing. You know, the only thing I did do right was I did not drink and drive. I absolutely refused to do that. And the reason I refused to do that is because I knew if I got behind a wheel of a car, more than likely I would either kill somebody or myself. I was very smart on that. Praise somebody for that. I am very thankful I did not do that. So life was going on and I was going way out of control. Fighting, I mean, it got so bad one time, we went to a party. Something was said at the party which I had every right to be angry with. Well, I was going to go ahead and start fighting. My friends grabbed me, says, you are not fighting here. No, Michael, they threw me in the back of my own car, which my buddy was driving. They sat on top of me until we got back to my house, then took me in and grabbed the kitchen chair and tied me to that chair. I remember this kind of a little bit. My father had come out because they didn't make it up to my apartment, and he's like, boys, what's going on? Michael's wanted to get into a fight again. And guys, the rage I had in me, I'm here to tell you, it was not good. I seen red, and I yelled, take me back there. I clear out the whole party. That was bad, but it's not the worst. So the next day, Dad had a little talk with me. Now, the relationship I have with my father, guys, on occasions, he was a good dad. Yes, he was an awesome dad. But on occasions, we would have a lot of arguments because I was not listening to what he was trying to teach me. Of course, he was trying to teach me the wrong way anyway. His way of teaching was like, you do this and you don't, you know, basically direct demands anyway. And that stage of my life, I did not want to hear that. And guys, these fights I got into, believe me, I came out of a lot of them bloody. I got busted teeth right here from them today. One day I'm going to get them removed by a dentist. And that costs a lot of money. But that's why they're busted up of all the fights. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about getting my anger out. I was an angry young man. And the day after that I got tied up, my father, the next day I was headed to work, he says, Michael, I want to talk to you. He told me about an uncle I have. That was the same way. He says his brother, all it took was a little alcohol and he went out of control. He says sometimes some people can't drink. Now, my father was an alcoholic, guys. He was a drinker too. He was a big alcoholic. And I hate to say this, but he was. He truly was. But he didn't get upset. He did not lose his cool. He will sit down. He will want to reminisce with you. That's what kind of drunk. Well, he never really got drunk though. But that's what kind of a drinker he was. The complete opposite of me, obviously. Now, my brother Paul, I looked up to him. And he had a little talk with me. And I was like, okay. Now, I really wasn't going to listen to what Dad said, but I did listen to what my brother Paul said. Plus, I had some friends like Mike. You know, we don't have to go out to a party. We could, a few of us, close to your friends, a few of us, which we're all tight, there's about 6 of us, can pretty much party up there in your apartment and drink a couple beers, and we don't need to go out this way. You know, everything will be fun. Everything will be fine because you're totally cool with us, which I was. I never, ever, ever try to start a fight with any of my friends, ever. So we did that for quite a few months, guys. I will admit, I like to tell you my rage was done, but it wasn't. On occasions, I will lose my cool, but I never lost my cool with my friends, just different things. A couple times, other people try to crash our parties, and I lose my cool and stuff like that. And everything went fine. Then I met Angie. Now, after my brother talked to me, I cut down on my drinking tremendously. Now, guys, back when I was roller coasting out of control, I didn't sleep. My day consisted of getting up that morning. Well, actually, I sometimes never went to bed. I drink all night, go to work that day, drink through the day, come home, drink, party, then maybe get an hour of sleep or go days without sleeping. Yes, I don't know how the hell I did that, but I actually have went many days without sleep. And I was roller coasting out of control, so I yielded to what my brother was saying. I cut my drinking down to the weekends. And on the weekends, a few friends of mine, including Angie, which did not drink alcohol, would sit up in my apartment. We'd drink a few beers, play games, and listen to music and just jammed. Now, Angie knew right off the bat, because my friends told her, obviously, I don't do well at parties. I get into fights a lot. And she was on board to me not ever going to a party. Well, it came up one day, hey, they got this nightclub in Cincinnati, has some good music, a lot of dancing, and before we go there, we'll go watch the Battle of the Bands. Yeah, back then I got into heavy metal, Pantera, Slayer, and that's the place that had the bands. Pantera was actually playing there. I could tell you more about that visit, but I think we better keep that off YouTube. It was good. So we went there, and now that day, earlier that day, I had a huge fight with my father. A bad argument, guys. Oh my God, it was horrible. As a matter of fact, he's like, I'm kicking you out. Now, that didn't really matter so much back then, because every time we got into an argument, he was kicking me out anyway, and we made up the next day. Well, this argument, we didn't make up the next day, and the weekend came, and I was really upset about that, so we went to see the Battle of the Bands. Well, I got to meet the guitarist of Pantera, and I did a little bit of partying with him, if you know what I mean, in the bathroom. A little bit of partying, that's all I could say, because this is YouTube. And we left there, and we went to the nightclub. He didn't go with us, the guy from Pantera. And I was very upset with my father, and I got into an argument about, I really thought we should have worked this out by now. So we get to the nightclub, and on the way there, after we left the Battle of the Bands, I had picked up a 12-pack. Angie says it's okay, and I was kind of drinking on the way there. I wasn't driving, obviously. So we got there, I was drinking some more. We sat at a table. It was me, Angie, my buddy Red, my buddy Steve. I think Chad might have been there. There's quite a few of us there, because there was also another carload of guys who came with us. You know, hell, we all went to the Battle of the Bands together, then the nightclub afterwards. Okay, we're gonna rock and pace a little bit. Whew, my back's hurting today. I could always tell when one of my episodes of wanting to fight or spin out of control was coming on, because I could feel it in my head. I could feel my head getting hot. I could feel the rage coming on. Well, Angie's like, Michael, would you like to dance? And so I got up and I started dancing with Angie. Well, it was a guy, a pretty good sized dude too. He accidentally bumped into my wife. Oh God. So I punched him. We got into a fight. Next thing you know, bouncers are grabbing me, taking me out the door. I'm punching them. They're punching me. They threw me out and says, you try to come back in, we'll have you arrested. My buddies and my friends are coming out. Angie's coming out. Let's go. Let's go. So we're getting into the car, and they're like, okay. The other car row of friends we had says, we're going to head on back to Indiana. And Angie and I think Red was with us. Just me, Angie, and my buddy Red. Is like, we're going to head to Hardee's, and we're going to get some food and try to sober Michael up a little bit. So we headed to Hardee's. All right, to make a long story short, we get to Hardee's. Oh my God. There's a lot of people in Hardee's. I had to use the restroom. Get into the restroom, and other people come in the restroom. Guys, needless to say, I got into a huge fight in there. And Red's grabbing me, pulling me out the door, breaking up the fight. We get to the car. Angie was in the car. Throws me in the car, says, Angie, we gotta go. Michael just went in there and started a big old fight in Hardee's. So we get out of there. Well, on the way out of there, out of Cincinnati, first of all, you got to remember, I never ever yelled at my wife, well, Angie at the time, which was my girlfriend, or my friends. I never ever raised my voice with them, ever. So all the way out of that, I was like, take me on back there. I'm going to clean house. And Red and Angie's like, shut up. And it got to the point Angie pulled over and says, you say another word, you walk home. And my buddy Red's like, Angie, you can't do that. He's drunk. He'll get into a fight and get himself killed or get arrested. So we went on home. Angie dropped me off at the house. I kept apologizing. Get home, throw up. Yeah, that was another thing too. Back in my drinking days, I did a lot of puking. I'm sorry if you guys got a weak stomach. I won't say it anymore. And the next day comes. Okay, we're gonna get a drink of water and let this guy get out of the park. He has a car or a dog in a car. I gotta see if he's gonna let the dog out, and we'll finish this video up. Okay, I can finish it up from here. It looks like the guy ain't working on his truck no more. Well, the next day, Angie came over and she says, we need to have a talk. And she says, Michael, I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to marry you one day. But I had to give you the ultimatum. You gotta choose me or alcohol. She says the alcohol is either going to get me killed one day or end up in jail. And she wants to make a family with me, wants us to get married and make a family one day, but she says she couldn't see that in the future if I'm continue drinking. And she says, I don't want you to cut down, I need you to quit permanently. Guys, without question, without even a single thought, and I was drinking an alcoholic beverage at that time, without even thinking, I looked her straight in the eye, and I took the alcohol and I poured it out on the ground. I says, I choose you. Now, I wish Angie was here right now, because she told me later on, she's like, I really did not know what she was going to do, because you looked at me and it was about maybe 5 seconds that passed and then you poured it out on the ground. She says, I honestly thought you was going to send me home and tell me to go on my way. And I didn't pick up alcohol at all, except 2009, I drank a beer. It was offered to me. I was like, I wonder if I could drink now. I drank about 4 sips of that beer and I was like, I don't want no part of it no more. I'm not drinking alcohol except that one time. That was 3 sips since 1993. Guys, that's why I don't drink alcohol no more. Under the influence of alcohol, I don't know what it would do to me today. I don't know if I'm a happy guy today. I'm completely different back then. Then I was nothing but, I had a lot of troubles. And and alcohol just made things come to the surface. Today, if I did drink, I'm sure I would be okay, but I don't want no part of it. And this video is not to tell anybody else that drinks that you're gonna do what I did. No, it's just, this is why I do not drink. Alcohol and I do not mix. I was gonna do some more laps, but I did enough laps today. Holy, have I ever done a lot of laps. Okay, guys, if it's a long video, my apologies. The next couple videos, if we could pull it off, and if it's not too muddy, which Angie and I talked about it, we don't care if we get full of mud. I don't want to get a little Sparky full of mud, because Stormy will be with us, but we're going to do some hiking adventures, that's right. And that's about it. That's my drinking story, guys. That's why I don't drink alcohol today. My wife saved my life, because if I stayed on that course, I would either be dead or in jail. True. There's a lot of things I didn't tell y'all, because I didn't want to make this video an hour long. But yeah, alcohol and I did not mix. Maybe I was just like my uncle. You know, alcohol made us see red. All right, guys, I'm going to get a thumbnail. And we will see you, hopefully, on a hiking adventure. We're planning on going to the creek and look for some creek rocks. And I got a video coming up next couple days about that too. All right, guys, until next time, come on, let's get out of here. We'll see you in a couple days.